Luke, very good to see you. Let's dive into the headlines and talk about what the big, beautiful bill means for your retirement. Washington recently passed what President Trump is calling the big, beautiful bill, which could reshape retirement planning for millions of Americans. Let's start big picture here. What do we need to know?
Yeah, so the big beautiful bill is I guess bigger and beautiful for some and not quite as big and beautiful for others, but long story short, it's a pretty sweeping legislation obviously that is going to have a lot of effects on taxes, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So, additional senior tax deduction, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime up to certain income levels. There's some certain pieces in there, as you've mentioned previously, it's a 1,000-page bill. So there's other pieces in there with state and local taxes if you're an itemizer, and car loan interest if you're buying a new vehicle between now and 2028. That doesn't maybe affect everybody. So we're going to focus high level on what mostly affects retirees.
Right. So specifically, you just mentioned that senior tax deduction, which was really confusing because the headline was about taxes on Social Security. The agency framed that new $6,000 senior tax deduction as eliminating taxes on benefits, but experts say it's not that simple. Can you explain?
Yeah, and it's not that simple. One of the, I guess, campaign points all along was this elimination of tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security. Well, that's not how it actually ended up being passed. The Social Security portion of that was ripped out when it, went through Congress. So their compromise, in my opinion, was to add this additional senior tax deduction. So it's a $6,000 additional deduction to the standard deduction over the age of 65 for an individual, which is up to 12,000 for married filing jointly. And then that also phases out at certain levels of adjusted gross income. So if your income is up over 150,000, then you would be phased out of that additional deduction.
Mhm. Okay, so I guess that begs the question then, does this change the strategy around saving for retirement or when to claim Social Security?
It absolutely could. It's always an individual case by case, couple by couple basis when it comes to these sorts of things, but it certainly could affect that, right? Because you've been given this additional now leeway when it comes
Yeah.
to taxable income, where it may make sense to continue to delay Social Security in order to either do more Roth conversions or possibly just take IRA distributions before turning on Social Security. Those points all remain pretty similar to where they were previously. There's just a little extra wiggle room now. So you
Mhm.
always factor in 8% simple interest growth of your Social Security and then make the best decision for you and your family.
Mhm. And you just mentioned Roth conversion. So I feel like that's the other big headline, the extension of the 2017 tax cuts. So why is now still a good time for a Roth conversion and why are Roth accounts so powerful?
Yeah, so the Roth conversions, we've been talking a lot about for the past several years since the passage of the initial Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And, a 12% tax bracket or a 24% tax bracket seem to be the two most advantageous positions where if you're at the top end of those brackets, for example, if you're at the top end of the 12% tax bracket, you would have previously been in a 25% tax bracket. So it makes sense to pay the tax now. That allows you to then grow the asset tax free and then take the distributions tax free in the future, because we have been in a historically low marginal tax rate and we still are.
Mhm.
Now, one interesting point on that, President Trump always likes to say that this is permanent tax law change. There's really no such thing as permanent tax law change. All that he is saying with that is that there's now no longer a set date that will sunset or expire. And so, frankly, take advantage of it for as long as you can.
Right. Yeah, and enjoy that tax-free growth. I always say it's permanent until it's not.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
then, Luke, as you mentioned, 1,000 pages in this bill. There's a lot of details. I know that you have sorted through it, but if somebody would like to learn more about how this could affect them, or if they want to talk to you about Social Security claiming strategies or Roth conversions, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, as always, personalizing strategies is exactly what our specialty is. And
Yeah.
so keeping up to date on everything with this bill is a massive part of that. So as always, they can reach us at our website at icanberryretirement.com, or they can reach us by phone at 937-498-1128. There is a link on our homepage of our website to schedule an appointment with an advisor here, and we'd be happy to sit down and talk through those options with anybody.
Great. Luke, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.